A 72-year-old man sat alone one evening, doing something he'd done for decades. It felt familiar, even comforting. But this time, something went terribly wrong. He didn't just lose control of his body, he lost a part of himself he could never get back. And no, it wasn't because he was masturbating. It was how he did it, and what he didn't know. Yes, even something that seems so harmless can quietly damage your health as you age, unless you know the truth. I'm Dr. James. For over 30 years, I've helped men over 60 stay strong, independent, and sexually healthy. I've sat across from thousands of good men, scared, confused, and too embarrassed to ask the questions that matter most. Men who whisper things like, "Is this still normal?" Or "Am I doing something wrong?" Here's what I've learned. Most older men are still using the same habits they picked up in their 20s. But your body, your brain, and your heart are different now. What once gave you relief might now be draining your strength, your energy, even your confidence. So why is no one talking about this? Why are so many men paying a quiet price for habits they never realized could hurt them? In this video, I'm revealing 5 masturbation secrets every man over 60 deserves to know. Secrets that can help protect your prostate, boost your blood flow, and keep your sex life not just alive, but safe, satisfying, and strong into your 70s and beyond. These aren't scare tactics. These are lessons to empower you, because once you know the truth, you can take control, and it's never too late to do that. Stick with me until the end, because secret number 5, it could be the one thing that helps you stay healthy, independent, and sexually capable for years to come. Most doctors won't tell you this, but after you hear it, you'll wish someone had told you sooner. Let's begin. But before we dive in, hit subscribe and tap the bell so you never miss another honest, science-based talk about your health, intimacy, and independence. And if this topic speaks to you, type 1 in the comments to let me know you're here. If not, type 0, point your voice helps me serve you better. Now that we've broken the silence, let's reveal the 5 secrets that could change the way you age, forever. Secret number 1, it's not just about your erection anymore, and that's okay. There comes a time in every man's life when his body starts to change. Maybe you've already noticed it. Things don't respond like they used to. Blood flow slows, the feelings shift, and something that once felt so easy now takes more effort, and sometimes it just doesn't happen at all. That's the moment many older men start to worry. A quiet panic sets in. Is something wrong with me, they wonder? Let me be clear. No, you are not broken. You see, for years, decades even, we were told that being a real man meant one thing: a strong, hard erection. If it wasn't rock solid and ready on command, then something must be failing. But that's a lie we've all been sold. The truth? Your body is simply moving into a new chapter, and nobody ever gave you the updated rule book. I've sat with men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s. Good men who felt ashamed just because their bodies didn't perform like they used to. They believed they'd lost their manhood. But here's what they didn't know, and what you deserve to hear. You can still feel pleasure. You can still have deep, satisfying intimacy. You can even reach orgasm without a full erection. That's right. Orgasm and erection are not the same system in your body. You were just never taught that, and that silence, it's left too many men suffering alone. Why? Because no one talks about aging men's sexuality. Not doctors, not families. And most of us feel too embarrassed to even bring it up with friends. And the cost of that silence? Guilt, confusion, shame. Let me tell you about Charles. He was 72 when he came to see me. He felt frustrated, embarrassed, and ready to give up on sex entirely. But when he finally understood the truth, that sex after 60 is about connection, not just performance, his entire world changed. Touch became meaningful again. Intimacy felt real, and the pressure to be hard melted away. Listen, friend, you are not broken. You're evolving. And that shift, it's not an ending. It's an invitation to rediscover your body in a deeper, more personal way. So if something's felt off lately, please hear this. It's not just you, and it's not too late. And speaking of what comes next, what if I told you that masturbation after 60 isn't just about sex? It's about your emotions, your stress, and even your mental health? In the next section, I'm going to share a secret most men never hear. The real emotional reason older men still turn to self-pleasure, and how ignoring it could be quietly draining your energy day by day. Stick with me. What you'll hear next may surprise you. Secret 2. Masturbation isn't just about sex. It's about emotion, the brain, and your well-being. Most men think of masturbation as a simple release, a moment of pleasure done in private without much thought. But after working closely with older men for more than 30 years, I've learned something most people never talk about, something that could change the way you think about this part of your life. You see, especially in your 60s, 70s, and beyond, masturbation isn't just physical, it's emotional, it's neurological, it's even psychological. But no one ever told us that, did they? No one ever said we'd still crave connection, still need comfort, still long to feel alive in our own skin. I'll never forget Howard, a retired veteran in his late 70s. He didn't come to me with a physical issue. He came because he felt numb, like he was just going through the motions of life. As we spoke, he shared something vulnerable. Masturbation wasn't about pleasure anymore. It was about peace. It helped him sleep. It quieted his mind after a rough day. In his own words, it became his reset button. Yet he never understood why. He thought it was just an old habit, but in truth, it was helping him regulate his emotions. And he's not alone. Scientific research now confirms many men over 60 use masturbation to cope with stress, loneliness, grief, even fear. It's not just about desire. It's about grounding yourself, about feeling in control in a world that sometimes feels like it's slipping away. But here's the risk. If you're doing it without awareness, if you're just going through the motions, autopilot, same time, same way, same reasons, you may be numbing yourself instead of nourishing yourself. And slowly, without realizing it, that habit can become empty, even harmful. Because when we suppress emotions, when we man up and bottle things inside, we lose connection to ourselves. We touch ourselves, but we don't feel. We release tension, but we don't heal. And that's why the secret is so important. When used with intention, masturbation can be healing, even therapeutic. But used mindlessly, it can drain you. Not because the act is wrong, but because you're not really there. There's also a chemical side to this that's often overlooked. After orgasm, your brain releases powerful feel-good chemicals, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin. The very same ones that lift your mood, help you sleep, and support your memory and motivation. For older men dealing with anxiety, depression, or sleepless nights, this natural boost can feel like a miracle. But only if you're present for it. If not, the brain begins to dull its response. The habit becomes flat, the spark fades. So here's the shift. Don't treat masturbation like a habit. Treat it like an act of awareness. Ask yourself, am I using this to connect with myself or to avoid something deeper? Am I choosing this moment or just filling a void? Because this is about more than sex. It's about memory, emotion, and yes, even survival. And now here comes the part most men never hear, especially those who've been sexually inactive for a while. While masturbation can soothe your soul, it can also help protect your body. In the next section, I'll reveal a quiet truth that could literally preserve your sexual health for years to come. It's about the use it or lose it principle, and what really happens to a man's body after 60 when intimacy fades away. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Secret 3. The use it or lose it rule. It's real, but most don't see it coming. Here's a hard truth many older men never hear until it's too late. When it comes to your sexual health, if you stop using it, you really can lose it. And what's worse, very few people explain how it happens and how deeply it affects not just your sex life, but your confidence and sense of self. This isn't about fear. It's about understanding the slow, quiet changes happening inside your body as time passes. The big question that nags at so many men, why isn't anything working anymore? Well, the answer's been hiding in plain sight for years. As you age, your blood vessels narrow, nerve endings dull, and the tissues down there lose their elasticity. These aren't random changes. They're natural, biological responses to one thing: inactivity. Just like a muscle that shrinks when you don't use it, your sexual system shuts down when it's left untouched. And here's the sad part. Most men don't even know it's happening until it's already too late. I've seen this too many times. A man in his 60s or 70s, after years of being alone, maybe he's a widower or just gave up on intimacy, finally feels a spark of desire when he meets someone new. But his body doesn't respond. It's not just slower, it's different. Number unresponsive. Even painful. And that's when the doubt sets in. He starts to think something's wrong with him when the truth is much simpler. It's the result of long-term disuse. Why aren't men told about this? Why is this basic truth left out of nearly every conversation about aging? Because sexual health after 60 is still treated like it doesn't matter. That's a cruel myth, and it robs thousands of men of the chance to keep something vibrant, something that could have been maintained with just a little attention. Let me tell you about Roy, a 74-year-old man who came to see me. He hadn't been intimate with anyone for over a decade, not because he didn't want to, but because life had worn him down. His wife had passed, he got used to solitude, and gradually he stopped touching himself altogether. When he met someone new, he was overjoyed, but confused when his body didn't respond. Pills, creams, gadgets. Nothing worked. So I gently explained. What he was experiencing wasn't dysfunction, it was disuse. Over time, his internal system had atrophied. Blood vessels narrowed, nerve signals dulled. But here's the good news. With time and a little attention, he began to notice a change. It wasn't a miracle, and it didn't happen overnight, but it was real. His body started to remember. His confidence returned, and with it, his sense of being alive in ways he thought were long gone. This is why masturbation, especially as we get older, isn't just about pleasure. It's about maintenance. It keeps blood flowing. It tells your body, this still matters. And your body listens. You're not just keeping a function alive. You're keeping yourself alive in a deeply personal, emotionally grounding way. Too many men think they need a partner to stay sexually vibrant. But that's a huge misunderstanding. You don't need a partner to stay connected to your body. You just need presence, curiosity, and consistency. And the beautiful truth? That regular attention can make sure you're ready to be fully present in intimacy when the time comes. Don't wait for a partner to rediscover your body. Keep that relationship with yourself strong. The moment you let it go, your body starts to forget. And the longer it forgets, the harder it is to remember. There's one more hidden danger I've seen over and over again, one that weakens men's drive, energy, and even desire for real intimacy. Stay tuned, because the next secret might be costing you more than you realize. Trust me, you won't want to miss this. Secret 4, the hidden danger of porn. It could be sabotaging your sexual health without you even knowing it. Picture this. It's late, the house is quiet, and you're alone. You reach for your phone, tablet, or laptop, searching for something familiar, something that gives you comfort. A few clicks, and there you are, caught in a world that promises quick satisfaction. It feels easy, automatic. But what you don't realize is that, over time, this habit is doing more harm than good. If you're older, you might start noticing changes: arousal fading faster, a duller climax, a growing disinterest in real intimacy. It doesn't feel like you're broken, but something isn't quite right. This creeping shift is what I call arousal fatigue, and it's happening quietly, right under your nose, as a result of your brain being overstimulated by porn. It's not your age, not hormones, not even stress. In fact, it's the high-intensity porn you've been watching for years. When you're alone, It floods your brain with dopamine, the chemical that tells you what feels good. And at first, this surge feels amazing, but just like a drug, your brain adapts. It begins to crave more visual shock, more novelty. The things that used to excite you just don't do it anymore. And your brain's ability to connect to real, intimate experiences begins to wither. Now here's the thing. Our brains aren't as flexible as they used to be. As we age, they lose some of their plasticity, meaning they can't bounce back as easily from bad habits. Over time, relying on porn for sexual stimulation wires your brain in a way that doesn't respond well to the simple, natural cues of intimacy. And this is where the danger lies. It's not just about feeling less interested. It's about your brain being trained to ignore the real pleasures of life, the pleasure of touch, the thrill of genuine connection. Your brain stops responding to these, and you're left feeling empty, detached, frustrated. But here's the twist. You can change this. You can reclaim that connection. I've seen it happen. Take Ernest, 68, widowed, retired. He started watching porn every night for comfort. At first it felt good, but over time, he couldn't feel anything with another person, not even emotionally. He was numb. But after working together, slowly detoxing from the dependency, he reawakened his senses. He started reconnecting, not through a screen, but through his own body. He learned to feel again. And that's what you can do too. The good news? It's not too late for you. Step away from the screen. Let your brain rediscover the simple pleasures, the touch, the breath, the connection to your body. It may surprise you how much you're still capable of feeling. When you break free from the cycle, your desire for real, authentic connection begins to return. This isn't about quitting sexuality. It's about taking it back from something that's been quietly robbing you of it. And remember, there's one final truth I want to share with you. In the next secret, I'll reveal why the act that's been misunderstood for so long, masturbation, could be the key to better health, improved mood, and even a longer life. You don't want to miss this. Stay with me. Secret 5, the hidden truth about masturbation that most doctors won't tell you. Let's get something straight. Most doctors won't talk about it, but masturbation can be a lifeline, especially as we age. After all my years working with men over 60, there's one thing that breaks my heart every time. I didn't know it was still okay to do that at my age. They say it quietly, almost ashamed, as though they've been caught doing something wrong. But let me tell you, that's far from the truth. Masturbation, especially for older men, isn't just okay. It can be one of the healthiest things you can do for yourself. Not only for sexual satisfaction, but for your emotional health, your physical well-being, and your dignity. Here's the thing. Most older men never hear this. Why? Because doctors are trained to focus on what's wrong, not what keeps you feeling whole. They talk about medications, surgeries, and symptoms, but never about the things that bring you pleasure, connection, and identity. It's as if your private habits are a subject too uncomfortable to discuss, leaving many men to wonder silently, are the things I'm still doing, or wishing I could do, somehow wrong or risky? And here's the real danger. Silence. The lack of information leads to confusion, and that confusion can hurt you. But let's get to the facts. When done mindfully, masturbation offers powerful health benefits for older men. It boosts circulation in the pelvic region, which helps maintain tissue health. It supports prostate function by clearing old fluids. It improves sleep, releasing calming neurochemicals like oxytocin and serotonin. It even lifts your mood, fighting that loneliness that so many seniors silently suffer with. But there's more. It's not just physical, it's about your identity. When you lose touch with your sexuality, especially as you get older, it's like losing touch with a part of yourself. You start to feel invisible, not just to others, but to you. You stop seeing yourself as someone who still deserves pleasure, who still has desire, who still matters. Slowly, your world shrinks and you become emotionally smaller. I've seen it happen too many times. One man I worked with, Walter, hadn't been touched, not even by himself, in nearly 6 years after his wife passed. He convinced himself that part of his life was over, that seeking pleasure alone wasn't appropriate. But over time, his mood worsened, he couldn't sleep, and he became easily frustrated. It wasn't until we talked, really talked, that he started to understand how crucial sexual touch is to emotional well-being. I'll never forget when he looked me in the eye and said, "I didn't know I was allowed to still be a man." That right there says it all. Too many older men believe that sex, especially solo sex, is just for the young, that after a certain age it's childish or dirty. But that belief, it's harmful. The need for touch, intimacy, and connection doesn't disappear with age. It just changes. And if we honor those changes with curiosity and care, we don't lose ourselves. We rediscover a deeper, more meaningful version of ourselves. So why don't doctors talk about this? Because they're uncomfortable, because they weren't trained to discuss aging and sexuality with dignity, or because they worry it'll open a conversation they don't know how to navigate. And sadly, they assume that you don't want to talk about it either. But trust me, you are not alone. Thousands of older men are asking the same questions, feeling the same fears, and facing the same uncertainty. I'm here to tell you, it's not too late. You are still allowed to feel, still allowed to want, still allowed to touch your body with care and kindness. Masturbation isn't a failure of connection, it's a form of connection. A bridge between your body and your emotional needs, saying to yourself, I still matter. So if you've been quietly wondering whether your habits are strange or dangerous, let them go. What you do in your private space, with mindfulness and respect for yourself, is not only healthy, it's healing. And in a world that often forgets older men, it may be the most important act of self-respect you have left. Because at the end of the day, the problem isn't masturbation, it's silence. And once you break that silence, you'll start to reclaim the parts of yourself that were never lost, just waiting to be remembered. You've made it through all 5 secrets, but there's one more thing I want to leave you with. It ties everything together into one simple, powerful truth. Stick around for the conclusion. This could change the way you look at aging and yourself forever. Conclusion: 5 masturbation secrets. Old men wish they knew sooner. First, let me say this from the heart. Thank you for staying with me. Thank you for being open, for staying curious, and for having the courage to explore something that many men your age were never taught to discuss. You are part of a rare group of men, those who are not giving up, not backing down, and certainly not letting silence decide the final chapters of their lives. We began by challenging a belief that many older men carry unknowingly. The idea that sexuality fades with age, that desire simply disappears, and that masturbation is somehow off limits after 60 or 70. But what we've discovered together is far more powerful, far more hopeful. First, we learned that while erections may change, pleasure doesn't have to disappear. Your body isn't failing, it's evolving. Then we dove into the emotional layers of self-touch, the anxiety, the loneliness, and how for most men, it's not just a physical act. It's a deeply emotional and neurological experience. We also uncovered the truth about disuse, that when you stop engaging with your sexual health, your body starts to forget how to respond. It's not age that causes the damage, it's inactivity. And when we touched on the dangers of overusing pornography, we learned how overstimulation can rewire your brain, making it harder to feel naturally aroused. The kind of arousal that brings genuine satisfaction and meaning. Finally, we talked about something most doctors don't say, that masturbation in later life can be a lifeline, not just for your body, but for your confidence, your identity, and your overall well-being. These 5 truths aren't just advice, they're invitations. Invitations to return to your body with kindness, to stop judging your changes, and to stop waiting for someone's permission to feel again. You don't need to be in a relationship. You don't need to perform like you did at 25. All you need is to listen to your body, to honor the quiet moments of aliveness that are still yours to experience. I'm not speaking to you as a doctor right now. I'm speaking to you as a man who has walked beside hundreds of others just like you. Men who thought they were broken only to realize they were simply uninformed. Men who feared it was too late, only to discover that the truth came just in time. You are not too old. You are not out of time. You are not done. You still have access to connection, to pleasure, and to healing if you're willing to reach for it. So no matter your age, no matter your story, I want you to walk away from this video with one simple message. Your body may age, but your right to feel, to touch, to be whole, that never expires.